and gentlemen, welcome to the KeithAndrewNetWork. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the KeithAndrewNetWork. I am your host, Keith Andrew, and this is episode 464. That's right, 464. I'm here with a good friend of mine, Robert Sciglimpaglia. I just want to say thank you for sticking with us and joining us for today.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
No, absolutely. Now, for people who want to know what my talk show is about, the whole point of my talk show is to show people that even with having a learning disability, if you can tell, the whole point of, I can't even say that with a straight face, the whole point of my talk show is to show people that even with having a learning disability, I can still amount to something. And at the same time, I'm able to turn myself into an example for people out there to never give up and prove people wrong. Prove to them that even with a label, you can still amount to something. Where that labels do not dictate who you are and who you're going to be, it is to prove to them you can break the label. So hashtag break the labels. So that being said, half hour, 37 minutes of your time, and starting off, going to ask you some easy questions and some hard questions, and you can throw it right back at me. You can ask me anything you want, say anything you want. Freedom of speech, self-expression. And starting off, I saw something that caught my interest, and that you are a bestseller.
Yes, I am. Yeah, and actually, I just want to, just in case everyone's wondering, when you say my name, Sciglimpaglia, because I know that it's like a really hard name, and everyone always gets tripped up on it. So, just to clear that up. Yes, I sold. I'm the author of Voiceover Legal. That's the name of the book, and it hit #1 on the Amazon bestseller list last year. And it's in the top 20 consistently. So I'm pretty proud of that, and working on the second edition as we speak, and we'll move forward on it.
No, absolutely. I wish you the best of luck on your current success. And that's really great that you're still on one of the top markets, you know. Was that
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
It's very surprising to me. I didn't think that it was. It was in the entertainment law category, so there's a lot of entertainment law books, so I didn't think it was going to be anywhere near the top of the category. So it's an honor.
No, it really is, and it's a real honor having you as a guest. So I would love to hear your story. With that being said, what is the book about?
I am a voiceover artist, and I'm also an attorney. Being a voiceover artist, I would always get questions from my fellow voice talent about legal issues. So I started writing those down, and started writing the answers down that were, common answers I would give. And that's how the book was born. So it's a book about legal issues that a voiceover artist, or pretty much any artist or actor, would face. But it's geared toward the voiceover industry because the voiceover industry is it's in its infancy. Really, it's to be as a new profession because of all the home studio equipment and things like that. So there's more people that are doing it as a side business in their house. So it's geared toward that. But other artists could read the book, and you would still be able to apply what I say in the book to their own profession. So, but that's what it's about.
Oh, absolutely. And you do have the looks. You do look like Nicolas Cage. And you also sound like the guy from 2112. Actually, that's a song, 2112.
Gotcha.
2012. I can't think of his name, but he has a high squeaky voice.
I have a high squeaky voice.
Oh, it's a compliment.
I appreciate it. I'm only kidding. Don't worry.
But you do have two looks for you. Why can't I think of his name? He was in Face Off. He was in Con Air. He was the main star in 2012. I can't think of his name for some reason.
Isn't that Nicolas Cage? No?
No, it's John something. John Cusack.
Oh, John Cusack. Yeah, I get that. I get that a lot.
So
people say that I sound like him. Yeah.
So hands down, It's perfectly. You sound like John Cusack, and you look like Nicolas Cage.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
No, it's a compliment's a compliment, right?
Absolutely.
Now, as you mentioned before, you were an attorney lawyer. And I do have a couple questions for you off the air. But being an attorney lawyer, do you think that interferes with doing your acting and being a bestseller? Do you think it's a conflict, or do you think it adds more prestige to it?
No, it definitely adds. The acting, any profession they're very similar. So the acting, the voiceover artist, the attorney, the author, it all goes hand in hand. They all overlap, and they all intertwine. Especially knowing the legal aspects of all those different professions. It's just an advantage. It helps. Knowing the legal aspects of any profession helps. Or any business, because it helps you market. It helps you make contacts. Being an attorney opens a lot of doors for me that other artists or actors don't have access to, which is a good thing. And that's how I'm able to do different things, is because I have different avenues to get to where I want to go. Or get to who I want to talk to.
No, I agree with you. Now, the next question I was going to ask you is, I also saw that you were an executive producer.
Yes.
What films did you were an executive for?
A current film is called One, that is in post-production, which I was executive producer for. Within and Without, it's another film that just is in post-production that I'm an executive producer for. There's 3 or 4 more that I'm working on now. Being is another film where I was producer on. Her Name Was Samantha, another film, and that one won some awards last year, 2 years ago, at some festivals. So I'm proud of that one. And that actually just got distribution, so it's being distributed on Amazon. That will be up soon. So that's about it. But I have 2 or 3 more that I'm working on right now that are in development. So,
have you ever thought about doing like documentaries?
Oh, sure. I'm open to any kind of film. Mainly I've been doing shorts and features, narrative now, but there's actually one documentary that I'm interested in producing. I'm also working on a television show, actually 2 television shows, but one is kind of documentary style, more like it's like a crime drama type of show, but it's unscripted, so it's documentary style. And that one, actually, we're shooting that in a couple weeks, so that one will be out soon, probably. So I'm open to any genre of film, really.
All right, in that case, I'm going to throw it right at you. Well, what do you think about the idea of doing a film about me?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you have a unique story, and that's the key. Like, that's the key to any type of film. So, like, it doesn't even have to be for you. A documentary is just one of the possibilities. We could do a narrative based on you, or we could do a TV series based on you. It doesn't, it could be based on a true story. It doesn't have to be an actual documentary about you. So the uniqueness of your story, that's the most important thing. And the form that it goes in, that's something that's the creative part. That's the part you have to figure out which way will work the best. And then hopefully people will connect. So that's how you should figure out which form it should be in, is the way that you think you're going to make the most connection with your story. So,
well, if it's a possibility, I would love to work with you.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. Well, let's sit down and try to figure it out. Absolutely.
Now, the next question I was going to ask you is, who influenced you to become a lawyer, And also, it goes back to my first question. Don't mind me. It's been one of those days. My coffee's wearing off. So the first question I was going to ask you, who influenced you to become a lawyer? And who influenced you to be an actor? And do you think, like, as I mentioned before, is there ever a time where there would be a conflict, saying, you're doing a funny skit, but someone says you have to be, a serious lawyer, but at the same time you can be a funny lawyer, and then you can just be a serious actor? Do you think you mentioned it connects, but do you ever think if someone saw you for the first time, they'd be like, okay, what profession do you take more seriously, if that makes any sense?
Yeah, no, I completely understand what you're saying. First of all, I was influenced by education for both of those things, because I didn't decide to become a lawyer until freshman year of college, when I took a political science constitutional law class, and that's when I decided I wanted to pursue law as a career. So that's what influenced me there. Similar thing with acting. I was a DJ in college, so I was always interested in the performance aspect, but I didn't actually decide to become an actor until I took a course on voiceovers, an adult education class, about 15 years ago. And that's when I decided that I wanted to pursue acting more seriously. So that education is what influenced me for both of those things. And then, obviously the law it's a serious profession. It's a learned profession. It's more formal. But acting is very much, it's a profession too. It has its own rules, and you have to learn. There's a lot to learn to become a good actor. So people, of course, not that they take me more seriously as an attorney, but they just look at the profession more seriously than they do the acting profession. And also, artists, it's harder to make a living as an actor, as an artist, than it is as an attorney. So that's why people take the attorney profession more seriously than they take the acting profession. But the one place that it can conflict, and one place that I'm very I pay attention to, and I'm very careful about, is, like, I don't want to play a role as an actor that could make me look bad, so that people are not going to hire me as an attorney. It's like, right. like a porn thing. I would never do porn or anything like that, because it's just way too far away from the seriousness that you need and the respect that you need as an attorney. So, I'm careful with the roles that I take, that they're not going to be looked at as not serious enough, for an attorney. I have played serial killers before, which can be questionable, but it really isn't. Because people know that that's not really me, that I'm acting. So it's actually very difficult to play a serial killer. Because
you hope so, right?
Exactly. No, unless you're actually a serial killer in real life, it's hard to play one. So they're very complicated roles, and that's why I take on those roles, because they're challenging. And so that I hope people watching that understand that it's a very challenging intellectual type of role that goes exactly along with being an attorney. It's very, you're always thinking, you're always strategizing, and they go hand in hand. So those are the types of roles I would take, versus some of the roles that I get where they're just ridiculous. You just look at the script and it's like, it's like a Porky's type of film or something like that, where it's, I guess it could be fun, but there's really nothing behind it. So, when I take on a role, I make sure that, number one, it's something that I think is going to challenge me, And number two, are people going to look at this and say, why are you doing this as a lawyer? So that's where it can conflict.
Yeah, and there's some shows like Dexter, where he was like a cop during the day, but at night he was a serial killer.
Right. Yes, but that was a very difficult, that's a difficult role to play. It's also very difficult to play the bad guy, to play a villain, because a lot of actors fall into the trap where you're playing a villain where they play one note. They play the bad guy, they're mean and bad. And then the audience they don't connect with you. They hate you. So it's like you need to have some kind of likability in your character so that the audience can connect with you and then sympathize with you instead of just being someone they hate, because then that's not doing your job as an actor, really, in my opinion. So it's tough to play a villain because you need to pull some humanity out of that person. You can't just be playing a mean guy all the time because it gets boring. So boring for the viewer and boring for the actor.
So it's more fun to be like, for my taste, it's more fun to be an anti-hero. You're not a bad guy. You're not a good guy. You're just walking in between.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to play the protagonist, the good guy too. But again, you can't just play good. You have to have, no one is just one thing in real life. Everyone is good and bad, and they've got whole shades of gray. And, your characters need to reflect those things, or you have to pull that out of the material, the scripts, or you're not doing your job as an actor. You need to find all those little things, all the little shades of gray that real life has. So, like being the anti-hero, that's kind of a tough spot to be too, because are you good? Are you bad? You have to make those decisions, and you have to have something that the audience can relate to with that character. So you have to have them. They have to be able to decide one way or the other, or just try have something to debate as to, is this a good guy? Is this a bad guy? You have to give them something to be able to connect with, or it's just going to be, it's not going to look right. It's going to be boring for the viewer. It's going to be boring for the actor. So
no, absolutely. Now the next question I was going to ask you is this: I was just listening to your voice. I think you're a perfect candidate to do voiceover books. Have you ever thought about doing that?
Oh yeah, I've done some audiobooks. I've done about half a dozen.
I've narrated. What books have you done?
I've done Richard Sorrentino's books. They're basically all like murder mystery type books that I've done. And I've done a couple of fantasy books. One was called Stasis. I can't remember the names of them. I can't remember the names of them now off the top of my head. But if you could just go to Audible and type in my name, and they'll pop up. So, but they're basically murder mystery type books and fantasy. So all fiction.
All right. And I didn't mean to interrupt. I do apologize.
No, you weren't interrupting. That's fine. So.
And for audiobooks, I do see one of my favorites. I Am Michael Benson. That's a great one. TikTok. Anything usually by James Patterson's got to be good.
Right. Good.
Go ahead.
Yeah. He's a great. That's the type of genre that I would read. Right. That's the murder mystery, the legal suspense. Those are the types of books that I normally narrate. So.
I like the name Tom Clancy, and I heard about some books like Rainbow Six. I never got into it though. There's another one. I can't think of his name, but he's also a good one. Let's see. The two Jurassic Park books. They start off slow, but they are pretty interesting. From the Michael Quentin.
Sure.
I keep doing that, Michael Quentin. For the Michael series. Let's go on Michael series. Make it easier. You did Jurassic Park, you did Jurassic World. and I was starting to listen to Lord of the Rings, the audiobook, and also there was one I was told about, Timeline. People said the movie's better, some people like the book. So, yeah, what do you think? Have you ever seen Timeline?
I haven't. No. Is it a movie, or is it a movie, or?
Well, I know it was a book, but they turn it into a movie.
Yeah, so I'll have to catch both, the movie and the book. Yeah, for sure.
Now, the next question I was going to ask you is, what were some of your favorite voiceover work you ever done?
Oh, good question. The first job I ever did in the acting or the voiceover field was a voiceover documentary. It was on the American Experience TV series. I don't know if it's on PBS. It still airs now. And I did a couple of voices, overdubbing the foreign voices to American, and that was my first job. So, and that was ended up on national television. So that's got to be up there as far as my favorite jobs go. And also recently, I was hired last year to be the director of a voiceover job, which you may have heard of, for the new Bixby voice for the Samsung Galaxy phones. So the voice that you hear, Stephanie, on there, I'm the director. I directed her for the Bixby voice. So that's got to be one of my favorite voiceover jobs. There's so many that I've done. Let me think. I did some promo work for all the NBC stations, the local stations. I was the voice for the iPhone when the iPhone NBC app came out. So like the local channels had their NBC local affiliate apps. So I was the promo voice for that. For on all the affiliate stations to tell people to download the app. I've been the voice of a gas company, a gasoline company, Tesoro Fuel. I've been their voice for probably 10 years now, and they own the Arco gas stations out west. So I've been doing that for quite a while. So those are probably my favorite jobs. I get ones that come in here and there that are fun. Right. So.
And my last subject I want to talk to you about is, have you ever worked with people with disabilities? And would you be willing to work with people with disabilities?
I have, absolutely, especially with my law practice, because that's basically, I'm a workers' compensation specialist. So the people that I work with, I mean, most of them have permanent disabilities. So absolutely. And of course, I'm willing to work with people with disabilities. As an attorney, that's one of the reasons I became an attorney, was to help people of all. It doesn't really matter where they come from, or their color, or their religion, or their sexual orientation, or their disability, or whatever. None of those things really should matter under our legal system. Although humanity as it is, of course, they end up meaning something, but they shouldn't. So, and as an attorney, I try to stay as objective as I can about any of those things. So I look at the facts of the person's case, and that's what I concentrate. That's what I concentrate on, not anything personal about them. So absolutely, yeah. I mean, I absolutely have worked with people with disabilities and want to continue to work with people with disabilities. So.
No, absolutely. Now we're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, I'm going to pass the show over to you.
Great.
Arlene Schofield.
My name is Shireen Snow.
My name is Carla A. Miles.
Diana Caputo.
This is Christine Dunford.
I'm me, Eden.
Caroline Macy. This is Walker Fannin.
I'm Camille Dixon.
I'm Dates Wardam.
My name is Linda Presson, and you're watching the Keith Andrew Network.
It's Russo. Me, Mark Medley.
Hi, everybody. This is Mark Neely.
Barry Babick.
This is Peter Bruno.
My name is Kyle Collier.
This is Julio Santiago, better known as Dynamite.
I'm Richard Epcar.
Lawrence Chow.
This is Kerrigan Mahan.
And we both support Keith Andrew.
My name is Ron Wasserman, and I am supporting Keith Andrew and what he is doing, and you better do the same, or I'm going to come kick your ass.
My name is Keith Andrew, and you're watching the Keith Andrew Network. This is episode 464. That's right, 464. And here is a good friend, Robert S. And now I'm going to pass the show over to you with the last 12 minutes. You can talk about anything you want, promote. If you have any questions, any promotions, this is your time. And you can ask me anything you want, gloves off. I have nothing to hide. So, passing the show over, this is your time.
Excellent. I appreciate it. And if you hear anything that I say that you want to ask any follow-up questions about, go for it. Just jump in and ask.
Sure.
But I wanted to talk a little bit about my on-camera projects and on-camera career also, because we talked about the voiceover stuff, talked about my attorney stuff, but I also do on-camera things as well. And you mentioned earlier that I'm an executive producer. Those are things that I'm doing recently. But I have been acting also on camera for a while, and I enjoy that probably the most. That's probably my greatest love is on camera acting. And so just one of the biggest roles I had was a Super Bowl commercial back in 2012, and I played. It was for Chevy. It was called Happy Grad. I played the dad, and I'm not sure if you remember the spot, but it was basically where I'm standing out front in front of a mini fridge with a big red bow on it, and my son comes out, and he's just graduated from college, and behind me is a yellow Camaro. So he comes out and he starts going crazy because he thinks that the Camaro is his present when really it's the mini fridge. And he goes crazy. We're going around and around and around. And it ends up that the neighbor comes from across the street and jumps in the car and drives away. And he's like, "Oh, he just stole my car." That's how it ends up. So, but I was the dad in that. So, there was a lot of notoriety, publicity around that, so that opened up a lot of doors for me. So I've done a lot of projects since then. One of the films that I'm producing, I was the lead actor in, also called One, which we talked about earlier. But that film, I was originally hired as the lead actor for it. So I got involved as a producer later on. But that film, I wanted to make sure that it got produced because I loved it so much. That's why I jumped in as producer, because it's about the end of the world. It's based on the book of Revelation, and I end up being the last man alive. And the character was great because I'm just an average guy playing an average guy. I had gone to jail. I was an extortionist, and I come out and I'm the one that's left. So it's this average guy left, and it's like, why am I here? So that's what the film explores why I'm here, how I ended up being the last man alive. I can't kill myself, so I'm stuck here forever. When I read that script, I wanted to play that part. That's why I ended up producing it, to make sure that it got done. So that one's coming out soon. We have distribution on it, so that'll be coming out probably in the summer. And then there's another role that I just did called Within and Without. This film's called Within and Without. We just shot this back in December, and it was another script that I read that I just had to play the role. It was about I'm a dad in real life. I have 3 daughters, and I'm married. And in this film, I'm a dad with 2 daughters, and my wife dies. And so the film's about me coping with the death of my wife, plus trying to deal with my 2 daughters who are trying to cope with the loss of their mom. and the dynamics between the three of us doing the grieving, going through the grieving process. That's the film. Just the script, it resonated with me, and I had to play it. And we just shot it, and I think it came out great. The actresses did an amazing job. I think it's gonna be something special, and it's in editing right now, and I've seen a couple of the rough cuts, and I really like it. So I can't wait to release that onto the world soon.
No, absolutely. And if you don't mind me for saying, The Last Man Alive, that's kind of reminds me of the Twilight Zone episode, where he's the only person alive, and I saw our Family Guy make fun of it. It's like, oh, where'd everyone go on the last one? It's like, well, at least I had my books, and then he breaks his glasses. It's like, there is still time.
Yes, I saw that one. I saw that one. Yes. It actually is similar to that one, because things like that happen to me. All kinds of different things happen to me in the film. So, and then the way that the script is written, I thought it was written very well, because it goes. There's flashbacks, so it goes between the future time, because it goes to me in the future, and then it keeps coming back to the present time when everyone was alive. So we keep flashing back and forth to tell the story. So I like the way that it was written. I think I also saw the rough cut of that, and it looked really good. And we're tightening it up right now. And I was able to get Evan Evans to compose an original score for me. And Evan Evans is the son of the Grammy Award-winning Bill Evans back in the 70s. And he was Miles Davis's piano player. So Bill Evans. So Evan is now doing film composition, and he agreed to do the score on this thing. So it's nice. And I listened to some of the songs, and it's powerful. So I think it's going to be a really good little film. I'm really looking forward to it coming out. And then there's other projects, like I said, that I worked on. I'm actually I've been on Mysteries at the Museum many times. That show that's on Travel Channel. I don't know if you've ever seen it. If you ever watch it, there's probably a good chance you'll see me, because I've done so many episodes. I'm actually working it again this Wednesday. So that's a show that I've been in many times. So I'm fortunate enough that I can get some regular work. I'm fortunate enough now that I'm actually able to produce some of this work, and I'm trying to take it to the next level. I mentioned that TV show that I'm working on earlier. This is a good time to talk about that, because this is also another project that I'm very proud of, and that I think it's going to be pretty big, because I've been getting a lot of good feedback on it. And it relates to my attorney work too. It's called Justice Delayed, and the show is about me as an attorney, and how attorneys use private investigators to help solve cases, either civil cases when they represent people that are disabled and got hurt, or criminal cases, because a lot of times victims go to attorneys to help them through the process. And sometimes the attorneys will hire private investigators to try to help the criminal investigation for unsolved cases. So the first case that we're going to be doing, and my co-writer is a private investigator named Vito Colucci, who's been on many of those TV shows where they interview private investigators, like the Datelines and those type of things. So he's had some TV experience too. So he and I we're going to coordinate on these either cases that haven't been solved or civil cases that we worked on in the past. The first episode is going to be about a murder that happened in the 1970s here in Stamford, Connecticut, my hometown. That's where I grew up. And and it's a pretty well-known case in Stanford. It's called the Polici murder case, and Vito Colucci was actually one of the original detectives that worked on that case. So now we're going to try to solve it in the pilot episode, and that's what we're shooting in a couple of weeks. So I've had a lot of. I mean, it's already been written up in the paper a couple of times, and there's a lot of networks that are interested in this show and this concept. So I'm looking forward to doing that and getting that out there as well. And we'll see what happens with it. But it's all exciting and fun stuff. So and that of course I can use my legal knowledge. So and my acting knowledge both. So.
No, absolutely. Now we're wrapping up your talk show. I do have a couple questions for you off the air. But
sure.
The first one is, are you on social media? Are you on Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn? Are you on any of those sites?
All of them. Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr. All of them. So, and I've got on Facebook I have my personal page, and I have an acting page too, so you can find me, as an actor as well. So, and I'm on IMDb, so people can go on the Internet Movie Database and look me up there, and you'll see all the credits that I have. And I also I have the honor of one of my Facebook friends created a Wikipedia page for me. So that's an honor for me too, to be in Wikipedia.
I thought about doing that, but I didn't like about it is people could change things a little bit on it. And it's kind of like, okay, what's the point of writing a heartfelt thing? Then you have some smut coming off like, oh, well, what about this? It changed Andrew to Frank. I'm like, all right, now people think I'm Frank instead of Andrew. And I'm like,
yeah, I mean, people could change it, but you can delete those changes too. So, I mean, as long as you're on top of it, I guess. But the thing about it though is that Wikipedia is not going to let you stay on the site unless you've done something that's of notoriety. So, the fact that I would say this qualifies for you. So, but that's the reason that it's an honor to be on Wikipedia, because it kind of means that you've accomplished something, at least something. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, one last question for you, wrapping up, is when I first approached you to be a guest on my talk show, what was your first reaction and what made you say yes about being a guest?
Oh, my first reaction was I've been guests on other shows before, but I was very happy that you came right out and said you have disabilities, and that's what this show is geared toward, people with disabilities, to kind of show that you can accomplish anything. So that's been my theme of my life. Not because I'm disabled, but I've always told myself that I can do anything that I want. I could be an attorney, sure. Go to school and become an attorney. I'm going to be an actor, a voiceover artist. Even when my mom said, "You're crazy for being a voiceover artist. You'll never go anywhere with that." My own mom said that. So, but I said, well, I want to do it. So, and, now, of course, my mom's like, oh, well, what are you doing next? What are you doing next? And I remember my response to my mom when she told me that. And I actually put this in my book. My mom's like, you'll never do anything with that voiceover stuff. Well, you're crazy. You're a lawyer. What are you doing? And I said, all right, thanks, Mom. Now I don't have to invite you when I win my first Oscar. So... So I don't have to thank you.
My mom said to me when I told her about my talk show, even today, there's certain people I won't mention who still make comments and criticize me. But my mom said to me when I first told her, said, well, you can try to see what happens. And said, I'm going to be telling you the truth, Keith. I never thought you would get over 772, because unofficially it was 772. I made mistakes because I wasn't taking a permission to give the highlights. I wasn't doing permission forms, and now I am doing permission forms. So I met some good people, I met some degenerates, but it's kind of like it's that area. So now you signed a permission form, you got to stand by it. But before, I was just taking people by the word. Well, my mom said, maybe you would have gotten 5 people at most, but I never expected this to go for 4.5 years. But like
it's great.
Oh, go ahead.
That's great, I said. Yeah, that's awesome.
And it's just about showing you, hey, look at someone I'm pretty much you're a 10, I'm a 5, and I learned and read at a 5th grade level, never went to college, but look at what I'm able to accomplish.
Right, exactly. That's the point. That was what struck me. That's the reason why I wanted to do this show, because you're a perfect example of what my motto of my life. Do whatever number one, do what you want to do. Don't listen to other people. Don't let them bring you down. It doesn't matter what odds you're facing. Just go for it. What's the worst that can happen? You fail. And guess what? When you fail, then you're on your way to succeeding. Because there's no person in the whole world that's a success that's never failed. So, if you don't ever take that risk, you're never going to be a success. So you have to take the risk of failing, because that's the only way you grow. I love the Michael Jordan quote where he talks about, how he missed more game-winning shots than he ever made, or, he didn't make his high school basketball team. All those quotes that he has. If anyone wants to Google it and look it up, he has all his quotes online. I love those things, because it's just the way life is. You fail more than you succeed, but then when you do succeed, you get where you want to go. And isn't that the name of the game? I mean, if you're just stumbling through life being miserable, what's the point? You got to enjoy it.
No, I agree. And now we're wrapping up our interview segment. Stay tuned. I do have a couple questions off the air. But wrapping up the segment, it was a real honor and privilege to have you as a guest. And I'm looking forward to part 2. We'll see you down the road.
Sounds good. I'm honored myself. Thanks.